for game one already?
No. There's what's cool about this, training camp is there's bright moments, for each side, and then there's moments to learn from for each side too, and that's what training camp's about. What I appreciate about it is that it's highly competitive. The guys are battling, they're competing, they're enthusiastic, they're energized. There's great execution from both sides at times, and then there's execution that we'd like to have back on both sides. But for the most part, I'm pleased with where we're at 3 days into it, But again, we're only 3 days into it.
Is it tough for you sometimes to remember next play? Like you talk about your kids with next play, but for you, even you got on Keith and you have to kind of remind yourself too that hey,
I move on pretty good. I'm short and sweet to the point. So. I love our guys, but there's coachable moments, and teachable moments that we have to get points across. And with Keith, it's obviously a point of emphasis of ours that we're going to, not take sacks. We're going to minimize our sacks. We're not going to take unnecessary hits, and especially when we're in the red zone and not taking those sacks. And it's a point of emphasis for him and for us as an offense. And so we got to make sure we get the point across.
He's still better at it than even a year
ago. He's better, but we got to continue to get better. We can't accept that. So.
Speaking of coaching moments, what did you say to Nate Fellner on the late hit? Did you say anything to him?
We can't late hit, and the problem, we've tried to pride ourselves on being a smart football team. And again, we get a stop in the red zone and you late hit a guy, they give a team a free first down and get them close to the end zone. That you hold them to 3 points, and now you give them a chance to get 7 again. So again, teachable moments, and we just have to learn from, and that hopefully everybody can learn from it, not just that individual, but the other 10 guys on the defense with them.
Steve, that seemed to be an issue with him at times last year.
Sure,
Is that
sure.
just kind of him?
It's a point of emphasis with him, and I, not that I'm trying to take Nate's stinger by any means. He's a physical player. We love that about him. That's why we moved him to linebacker. But dumb penalties are dumb penalties, and we have to eliminate them.
Can you talk a little bit about your kickers and competition going on there? Travis sure looked good.
Travis had a great day today. We really tried to give him the opportunity to kick today. We'll come back with Corey tomorrow. I think it's all the batteries getting a little more consistent, with the snap, hold, kick. And Travis got a very strong leg. He missed from 52 twice yesterday, and it wasn't for distance. It was wide left, and came back today and drilled it for 52. So very strong leg. It's just finding that consistency.
And the punting?
We're still a little bit of a work in progress there. When we go to punt protection, we really stress fundamentals early on in camp to get our scheme down, our blocking scheme down. And it's, we're 3 days into this thing right now. And so we're a little bit more inconsistent punting right now than maybe we would all like. But you see the powerful legs that both of them have. It's believing in the protection and then finding the consistency in the catch, drop, and kick.
Steve, how are you with the tempo of practices so far?
I love it.
The two-minute drill, you guys are all sprinting.
I love it. We're flying. I think we're better at it than we were in spring. I think our kids and probably some of the new coaches are understanding the tempo that we want in practice and how we move from drill to drill. There's a reason, we're not conditioning right now is because we go so hard, in every drill that we do, and there's not a lot of rest between drills. And I thought our guys have responded great to that, that they've really brought it every chance they've gotten. We just have to harness some of that aggression after the whistles blow.
Where's Tokalai at right now?
Well, that's good, I think he's getting more and more comfortable as far as just being back playing football and coming off the surgery. But I think he's providing our defensive staff, we talked about it last night, some comfort there. Another big body inside that can be productive for us. So, I think we're pleased where he's at, but I think he's got plenty of room to grow as well. Just getting back into it, maybe getting his weight down a little bit, but he's been productive.
In your head, though, do you think of him as a guy that could factor in, make an impact?
Oh, without a doubt. Obviously we love Danny, and Danny's had a great camp so far. He's so strong, and he's done a tremendous job on the inside, but it's hard for a guy 330 to play 75 snaps a game. So we have to find ways to get other guys on the field, and we're hopeful we can get Samisi back to where he was 2 years ago when he was really effective for us down the stretch, especially in the run game. So if he can bring that, then maybe we can knock 20 or so snaps off of Danny's game and get Samisi rotating in there as well.
Sarah made a couple of really nice throws in 11-on-11. What does that do for a kid when his head's spinning and everything's learning everything? What does that do?
Probably, phew, thank you. Those guys, it's day 3, and I totally believe this from a young quarterback's perspective is one of the harder days of training camp. You've got 3 consecutive days of installation going. It's the first time you put pads on. Everybody's jacked up. We go into the red zone. The field shrinks down. It gets a little tighter. Windows get smaller. So we anticipate some of the mistakes that potentially can get made on day 3, but I thought Seiler did some stuff today that was pretty impressive. The ball to Cody in the back of the end zone there, and his ability to understand and not get jittery. I think he shows a great deal of composure for a young guy.
Can you talk about? Was talking the other day about his approach to practice and every single play kind of being the same and being consistent. You notice that?
Yeah, I thought Kaysen's had a very, very consistent camp, and he's playing at a high level. He's really has embraced the opportunity I think that he sees is out there for himself. And this started in the off season, and there was some growing pains I think a little bit in spring ball to understand that. You just don't get anointed as the kind of top receiver, you earn it. And he's working his tail off to try to make that happen, and he's making plays. He did it yesterday. He came back early in practice again today on another deep ball and went up and got it. I'm really impressed with what he's bringing. He's got a very professional attitude about it.
Where's Josh Perkins in that tight end mix? He had a catch that looked like it was out of bounds, but they gave it to him.
Yeah, it's going to take him some time, and we understand that. This isn't like overnight he's going to step in and be a huge factor on game day. But we think down the road he can be a guy that can give us depth there early on, and then down the road be a factor as he gets more comfortable. I mean, to go from wide receiver to an H-back tight end and expecting to block Holy Jamora is a tall task. He's been asked to do that a couple times here in camp, but as he gets a little bit more comfortable and gets a little stronger and gets a little bigger and starts understanding the techniques and fundamentals, he'll get better at it. And then for us, we can utilize the route running, pass receiving skills at that position, get him matched up on some guys that he's just physically better than. So hopefully we can make all that happen.
Can you talk about Dexter Charles spending a lot of time with the number ones on the offensive line?
Obviously with Kohler out right now, it gives Dexter a unique opportunity to jump in there, and not Tanagawa not being quite 100% yet. So Dexter's in there. I like Dexter because he's just a hard-nosed, tough guy. He's what you want in an offensive lineman. He's blue-collar. He works at it. He cares. It matters to him. And at the end of the day, he's getting better. It's a lot going on. It's not an easy position to play in college football, especially when Danny Shelton's lining up across from your nose, and you got to try to block that guy. So, but very pleased with what he's brought so far. I always say this about O-linemen. If I don't notice him in practice, that's probably a good thing. And you brought up Dexter. I didn't notice him a whole lot today, so he probably had a pretty good day.
What's the update on Eric? Same as yesterday?
Yeah, it's the same. He feels really good. And what's encouraging is the swelling's already down significantly. He feels good about it. It's just getting that thing strengthened back up and getting him going. So again, I'm not as concerned that he'll be available to us for game day. I have no worries about that. Again, it's the continuity factor that is concerning me. So the sooner we can get him back, especially even in the early portions of practice, to where the communication and all those things are happening is what's more important to me rather than if he's going to be there game week or not.
Is there kind of a timeline for Tanagawa when he gets right back in?
No, it's going to be incremental progress, and we knew that just kind of the timeline naturally from an ACL and where we are in training camp, that he was going to be right on the cusp of the season of being available to us. So there's no reason to rush him when we already know when that date is going to be. So, but the knee looks great. He's had no swelling, so we'll just take it day to day the way we are.
How do you coach the fine line with Keith throwing the ball away versus making the plays that he made last
Well, I think what naturally happens innately in the games, he's going to revert a little bit back to his old self. So I'm being a bit more conservative now in practice just to try to give him those reminders that hopefully click in come game day. Because on game day, you play the game of football the way you know how to play it. And Keith has a unique ability to extend plays. We all know that. We saw it for a season last year. But he also had some plays where he tried to extend too long and put us in some tough situations, and he took some big hits for it. I mean, I've said this before, that hit at Nebraska is one of the bigger hits I've ever seen, and he popped right up, but those things take their toll on you over time, and so we're just trying to minimize those hits, those unnecessary ones, the sacks that put us in the 2nd and 18s and things like that. So I'm going to be, conservative with it because it's a point of emphasis for us in camp, but I know come game day he's going to make some plays for us, and I'm going to go, oh no, and then jump up and say, oh yes, like I did a lot of times last year.
I know it's early in camp, but have any of the new guys really opened your eyes?
A lot of them have done some things that have been quite impressive. I really, the 2 young corners I thought have done some things, and Brandon Beaver made a couple plays today. We saw the plays the first couple of days that Shaq was making back there. Obviously, Pio Vatave has been very impressive inside at D tackle for us. The 2 young receivers, maybe today wasn't the best day they've had, but they've shown some stuff. Mickens and Kendall Taylor, and Brostick has gotten in, and we're putting him in there with the ones, and he's grinding away. He's kind of one good, one bad, but that's how it's going to be, and with all the movement. And I think Eric Wilson, a guy that at the tailback, he's slippery. He's a natural feel for running the football. And then obviously the 2 quarterbacks, for day 3, and they're not fumbling snaps and throwing balls right to the defense. They're playing pretty good football for true freshmen.
Does Mickens look like a guy that could win that punch out, or is that asking
Oh,
too much?
I think it's realistic for sure. I mean, he's natural at it. Our depth just at returner alone is better than we've ever been in 4 years. I mean, you look at there's a lot of guys back there in pre-practice catching kickoffs and punts, and they all look pretty dynamic. So. We'll sort through it, and I don't think it'll just be one guy and that's it at the start. I think we'll try to get a feel for guys and who's good and who's not. We'll probably do a little bit more live kickoff, live punts to see how guys really react when they might get tackled when that ball is flying in the air to them. So, but we're gathering information, and we've got a good group of guys.
What does it mean having Cody Bruns back playing?
That's
again?
awesome. Cody, again, he's like the jack of all trades, I mean, I don't know if you guys remember Steve Lyons, the old baseball player. He kind of just, you look up, he's at first, he's in right field, he get on the mound and pitch. I mean, just kind of, and that's how Cody feels to me. It's like when you need a guy to get in at right guard, he could probably do that, I mean, he's punted, he's returned punts, he holds on field goals, he's thrown passes, he runs routes, he just kind of does cool stuff that for us is fun because we can put him in spots and trust him and count on him. And then the leadership he provides to their pretty young group of receivers is great.
Is he kind of back as the holder?
Yes, yeah, he'll be the lead holder for us.
Didn't Steve Lyons take his pants off at first base? Isn't that him?
Fell down.
Yeah, I think they fell down.
Second.
Are you guys going to go